Hey, real quick, if you're watching a lot of videos on YouTube for flexibility tips, it's crucial to identify your stage of flexibility, whether it's stage one, stage two, or stage three, and then take the right step. A lot of content might not suit your stage, and that's why I've crafted a free 5-part video series and downloadable guide called the Flexibility Blueprint. Head over to unitygym.com and scroll down to grab your copy and discover your flexibility stage. It's all yours for free. There's a lot of content on YouTube about flexibility training, which ends up leaving people with analysis paralysis, watching more and more content, but not taking action and getting results. In today's podcast, Yanni and I will help you identify your next step to achieving phenomenal flexibility and strength by uncovering whether you're at stage 1 flexibility, stage 2 flexibility, or stage 3. I'm joined today, of course, with my brother Yanni Burmeister, who is the author of the Flexibility Blueprint. My name's Rad Burmeister. We're the co-founders of Unity Gym and the UMS, where we teach people to move. How are you, Yanni?
I'm good. I didn't know where you were going with that. We teach people, but you cleaned it up pretty well.
I did.
I'm good. I'm good. I've just, you have to excuse me. I've just finished a pretty epic 1-5 method max strength leg workout that I skipped yesterday. I skipped leg day yesterday because I wasn't feeling very well, and I'm cooked. Like, you know, when you walk out of a leg workout and all of the blood has left your brain. Like I'm usually not the highest of IQ in the best of times, but right now I'm probably a fair bit lower. So I'll do my best to sound smart.
I do know those workouts. They're the good ones. So let's get into this topic for today. So we're talking about stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 flexibility. This is something that Yanni and I have worked very hard to identify in our new Flexibility Blueprint, which is a 5-part video series and an incredibly valuable downloadable PDF. There's a link in the description of this podcast or video where you can get it. But in a nutshell, it's this. Stage 1 is when you're completely new to flexibility training. You're an absolute beginner, you've been watching YouTube videos, and you really just need to get started. Stage 2 is when you've got some experience stretching. You're quite comfortable with doing stretching routines and you're already doing some stretching, but you haven't yet unlocked any of the more advanced skills like a pancake, like a back bridge, like a front or middle splits. And stage 3 is actually for those folks who are far more experienced with their training and fall in either one of two categories. They're either super strong, but they can barely touch their toes, or they're super flexible, but lack strength. And we've trained both of those people. We've had people come to Unity Gym that were in both of those categories, and both of them have as much risk for injury and as much limitation with potential for performance as the other. There's a real mistake that people think that flexibility is the key to everything, and it's one side of the coin, but the other side of the coin is that balance of strength. And so today, we're going to guide you through what we've identified are the best steps to take, because one of the biggest problems that we see, as I said in the intro, is this analysis paralysis. People get so caught up with watching more and more and more and more content. And there is so much content out there, but it's like they're addicted to learning, but allergic to taking action. And taking action is where the magic happens.
Yeah, but more specifically, taking the right action. Because the one thing that's worse than having analysis paralysis and just not taking any action at all is taking action with the wrong program or stretch or system that's not suited to where you are on your journey. And I think that's the real key take-home message that we're going to talk about today, because I like to use the analogy that designing a program based on YouTube insights is kind of like building you're putting together a 1,000 piece puzzle, only instead of it just being your puzzle pieces in the box, when you open the box, it's mixed in with 1,000 other puzzle pieces. Those 1,000 other puzzle pieces, of course, I'm referring to are the plethora of videos put together by a variety of different experts or gurus on YouTube, and you're trying to not only put together and identify where your pieces go to construct your program, you have to determine what pieces are right for your puzzle. And so I like to say, you know, the one thing worse than not taking action is taking action on the wrong thing, because, you know, Rad will put a video up of a great strategy to decompress the spine and open up and increase or improve mobility and functional flexibility in the shoulders, like body weight hanging, and recently a whole routine on single arm body weight hanging. And you'll get this incredible disparity in responses. Some people will claim that it is the gateway to their, results and a massive level up in what they can do. And others will say that it destroys their shoulders and hurt them. And it's, that we're absolute charlatans. And the point is that you could say that about any exercise. I've heard so many people over my years of coaching say that a deadlift ruined my lower back. But the reality is it's simply not true. It's not the deadlift that hurt you. It's how you got there. It's what you did prior, how you managed load, and whether you were doing the right thing for where you are on your journey. And just as quickly as the wrong strategy can hurt you and stifle your progress, the right strategy can cause enormous leaps forward in your development. And I think, people need to start looking at that. It's not the exercise. It's about matching the exercise to where you are on your journey to maximize your results.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great point, and something that just, so many people struggle with. And it's the backbone of what really sparked this idea of stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, because I love that Jefferson curl analogy. We've had members come into Unity Gym, many members, and when I show them the Jefferson curl in a workout, they say, I can't do that. My back is just completely blown out. And I ask them a few questions and go a bit deeper, and they've always got like a herniated disc or a bulging disc or something going on in their spine that makes them feel like there's no way they're going near a Jefferson curl. And it usually became worse from doing a deadlift or something like that. So they look at the movement and they think, no, I'm not going to do that. So what we do is we get them to practice the Jefferson curl without any weight at all, nothing in their hand, and they're just going through the motion with their spine. And not only does that create movement in an area where movement has been avoided for a while, but it gets them used to the exercise. And then we give them a 1 kilo weight. And they do it with 1 kilo, then 2 kilos, then 3 kilos, then 4 kilos. And that's progressive overload. That's how progressive overload works. And before you know it, these same people are deadlifting 1.5 times their own body weight and not even thinking about it. And I walk past them 6 months later and look at that they've got 50% more than their own body weight on the bar. So a 100 kilogram person is deadlifting 150 kilograms. And I go, wow, you were too scared to even pick up a barbell when you joined here 6 months ago, weren't you? And they laugh and go, yeah, that's where I used to be. And so, this idea that the exercise is bad is just completely wrong. And the same thing with a video. People will watch a YouTube video and think, oh, that's ridiculous. That would kill me, or I can't do that. And so the idea of stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 is identifying where you are and what the next step is. So let's break that down. Stage 1, you're an absolute beginner. For people like this, what we've found by testing on ourselves and also on over 10,000 people around the world is that these people respond best to a very simple 20-minute mobility routine that can be done daily. And the reason why, there's several reasons. Number one, it's achievable. It's not out of their range. We're not giving them a Jefferson curl that might make them feel pain and make them feel afraid of stretching. Number two is that it's something that makes them feel better instantly. When you do a good full body mobility routine that starts with foam rolling, so you're flushing the system, you're increasing circulation, you're massaging those knots out of your body, and then you move into mobilizing every single joint, so fingers, elbows, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, ankles, feet. By the time you finish that 20-minute routine, you actually feel better. Like even if you were sore from going running or lifting weights the day before, after you do a routine like that, you feel better. And so it empowers people and it makes them feel like this is the right thing for them to do. And also, it's very, very easy to slot into your day. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're already training for an hour a day, 6 days a week, or 90 minutes a day. It doesn't matter if you're not training at all and you can't find the time to train. A 20-minute routine is like that first little step. And that's why we say for stage one, the best place to start is just with a 20-minute mobility routine.
Yeah, and I want to just quickly add to that the 20 minutes is not an arbitrary number. You might be thinking, oh, why 20 minutes? The reason we've tested so many different time periods from 10 minutes, 18 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, all sorts on both ourselves and our tribe at the gym and then our online tribe around the world once we feel comfortable releasing it to the masses. 20 minutes is enough stimulus to really, really cause an adaptation, but it's also short enough that it isn't sort of perceived by the average person as unattainable. It can be fit into a daily schedule. It also can be added to a workout, an existing workout, whether it's a warm-up or a cool-down. And it really, really is the optimal time to sort of focus on. Of course, if you simply can't fit 20 minutes in, then 10 minutes is better than nothing. 15 minutes is better than nothing. But we feel that when you set that sort of foundation of, okay, it's a 20-minute routine, people just get it done. And I also want to reiterate what Rad said there, because he skipped over it. If you choose a routine at this stage, if you identify that you're at stage 1 and you're after that first tangible win, that it has to come within 28 days or you'll lose interest. That's just so much data that we've collected that sort of indicates that if you don't experience a really tangible result within that first 28-day period, you're not likely to continue with it or feel really motivated to continue with it. And we actually believe that the routine should make you feel markedly better after the first try. So if you don't do the routine and afterwards sort of walk away going, wow, I can feel a difference and probably even see a difference in the way your body moves and behaves, then I think you're probably wasting your time too. The routine should not be so demanding at this stage that it causes you to feel exhausted afterwards, that it causes you to feel stiff and sore afterwards. None of that. You're not ready for that level of routine yet. If you're ready for that level of routine, then you're at stage 2, okay? Stage 1 should be simple, easy, fun, and immediately tangible, because the goal here is not to unlock superhuman flexibility. The goal here is to ignite your motivation and really get yourself some momentum in the right direction towards your goals, and to achieve some basic fundamentals of being pain-free, so that you're not stiff and sore and dealing with back pain or joint pain. And then also just to feel like everything's sort of had a service, had lube, like a lube up, like a, what do you call it, a motor vehicle service where they change the oil and the grease in your joints and things like that. And that's what a lot of our previous tribe members have said about the 20-minute routine that we created. It feels like my body has just gone in for a maintenance service. I just feel great. Everything feels renewed, and I'm moving better. And that's really what you should get after the first attempt at it. Not this after 2 weeks, after 12 weeks or whatever else. It should be immediate. And the reason why a routine that's done the same every day works for a beginner is because a beginner does not need that much volume that you've got to start splitting up the workouts, like our flexibility masterclass, which is probably a good segue into that phase 2. Rad.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was great points, Yanni. So phase 2 is for those folks who are already beyond this point. They've had that first win. They're doing stretching daily. They're doing mobility daily. They've had a breakthrough from that point of the person that's at stage 1. But now they're looking to level up, and they're looking for those more advanced skills with flexibility training. And so you've heard us use the words mobility and flexibility. They're different things. Mobility is anything that takes your joint through full range of motion, and flexibility is a series of different techniques that is much more intense, much higher level of intensity, with the goal to increase mobility. So I'll show you some flexibility in just a sec, but everything you just saw there was mobility training. It was gentle. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel better if you're already sore. Flexibility is a workout. I was going to say it's much more like a workout. It is a workout. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel fatigued. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel that you need to have a break from one session to the next. So at this stage, what somebody at stage 2 needs is a proper program. Something that has, like in our flexibility masterclass, 4 workouts a week. So 4 different workouts that can be done anywhere from 3 to 6 days a week. It depends on your own schedule and what your goals are. But what I mean by that is there's a separate workout for the middle splits. There's a separate workout for the hamstrings, hip flexors, and front splits. There's a separate workout for shoulder flexion and internal rotation to unlock the back bridge. And there's a separate workout for shoulder extension and external rotation. Because each workout within itself takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes of very targeted quite intense work, something that would probably turn a beginner off, something that somebody that at stage 1, if they attempted, it would make them feel disempowered because it's challenging. It's very challenging for a beginner. But for that person who's at that stage 2 level, who's already stretching, it's going to give them that massive leap forward, because you hit this stagnation with stretching pretty quickly. You hit this glass ceiling, this plateau that you can't break through. And that's when a well-crafted flexibility program given to you at the right stage is going to give you that next leap forward.
Yeah, that's right. The biggest key at that point is that you need to start applying proper strength and conditioning principles to your stretching and your flexibility training. And that is going to require most likely a different approach to what you're used to. You know, we have a whole bunch of different methods that we use that we probably don't have time to go into here. Of course, shameful plug, they're all in our flexibility blueprint that I've rewritten this year for 2024 based on heaps more that we're learning. It's a great place to be, because when you start to apply modern stretching methods at this stage, you get an enormous leap forward. It's really, really exciting. You start to feel great. And this is where things start to become very, I like to use the word, I know it's a bit of a buzzword, but functional flexibility, because, and what I mean by that is that what you experience now really has a tendency to carry over into the sport that you do, the disciplines, the other disciplines outside of your gym training that you're probably practicing, calisthenics, yoga. You know, I like to, in our communications, we often talk about a member who we had at the gym who was a 20-year vet of yoga and very, very accomplished yogi. You know, he used to easily outstretch me in flexibility, and I'm pretty flexible. I'm pretty bendy, you know.
By a long shot, he was so flexible. Ben, if you're listening, we're talking about you.
Incredible. And shout out to you, Ben, if you're watching. But he came to us because he'd hit a plateau in his yoga practice, and no matter who he went and learned from, travel the world, learning from the best yogis that he could find, he couldn't unlock the really impressive yoga movements, the really advanced stuff where you're sort of doing hand balancing and a mix of what you would almost call, you know, contortionism, gymnastics, whatever. And within, I think he said 2 months after being at Unity Gym, he all of a sudden started to unlock these movements. And the point was, he was on that spectrum of level 3, stage 3, where he had a lot of flexibility, but it wasn't functional flexibility because he lacked strength. He lacked end range strength. And as soon as we started to teach him those principles, it all started to fall into place and come really easy. So this is a good segue into stage 3, Rad.
Yep, you've definitely moved into stage 3 now. So stage 3 is, for Yanni's just described one of those folks, which in our experience was the rarer side, which is those people that are really flexible but that lack strength. What we found was much more common was people that were really strong and lacked flexibility, and seriously lacked flexibility. A major, you know, disparity. You know, people that could deadlift.
That was me when I started.
Yeah. People that could just bust out squats at their own body weight, you know, that could do clean and jerks or whatever it is, you know, like really incredible feats of strength, but couldn't get their arms overhead to hold a straight line handstand, or, you know, couldn't go to even basic stuff like a deep squat, be able to squat ass to grass without breaking form. And
I think the most obvious is that ass to grass. Well, I could squat 2.5 times my body weight, but I couldn't hold a deep squat without weight on my back. It was too uncomfortable, and I had excessive butt wink. And I'm sure you've seen people like that in the gym, you know, that can demonstrate amazing feats of strength, but their flexibility and mobility is not on par with their level of strength. And look, you might, at a young age, you might dodge a bullet here and be okay. But 9 times out of 10, I find this type of person starts to really break down in the older adult years, you know, when they hit their even 30s. 30s, there's this sort of point where they're like, man, I've never ever had problems like this before, but now I'm all of a sudden in all sorts of pain, and everything just seems to be piling up, injury after injury after injury. And the reason is because although you could force your body into those positions, you hadn't earned the right yet, so you're causing enormous unnecessary stress on the joints, and muscle systems and tendons and ligaments and all of those deeper tissues that are, being forced into this position with everything not really coping with it very well. Sorry, Rad, I cut you off.
No, not at all. It's absolutely fine. I mean, look, I've found some footage of me doing some relatively deep squats. This is the first time I'd squatted double my own body weight. So that's 170 kilos when I was 85 kilos. So I think I've done this calculation before. I think it's 340 pounds or something like that. But yeah, look, Yanni's really nailed it there. But this is a really common thing that we see at Unity Gym, and this is where the UMS tribe membership. So where what we do in the UMS app, this is where it really comes together, because this is something that we developed at Unity Gym for many, many years. Where we combine strength and flexibility into the same workouts, and where we teach you how to have this balance of strength and flexibility. And I think one of the biggest difference about what we do with the UMS tribe membership is it's not just that it's customized to your needs. It's not that it's, we've got this app. It's that we do it all in exactly an hour and use periodization as well. So you're not just doing these random workouts. And the reason why that's, I haven't seen other people do it as effectively as we do with these 1 hour follow along workouts, because we were forced to do it at Unity Gym. I've seen there's plenty of other people out there that write programs for strength and flexibility, but to my knowledge, I've never seen any of them that developed their system by being forced to do it within an hour because you had a 1 hour class that you were doing. And that's what we had at Unity Gym. So we'd write this program and we'd watch it get deployed, and you'd see that you couldn't fit all of this in, or you'd do it for 3 months and then either Richard or Yanni or me would interject. It was usually Richard or Yanni, because it was me just going for it and creating the programs, and say, we're missing this here. We don't have... there's no external rotation in the week, or there's not enough volume on the primary lifts. You're only doing 3 sets, whatever it is. And it forced us to remove the things that were unnecessary, the things that would make a workout take 90 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, and boil down to something that makes you strong and flexible and takes 1 hour. And so, yeah, that's, in fear of waffling on, we've been going for a little over 20 minutes now. That's what we wanted to talk about today. We wanted to talk about this concept that if you're listening to this, I would almost bet that you are somebody that watches content on YouTube, and you're watching people do flexibility videos and teaching you these concepts about end range strength and about loaded stretching, about mobility and whatever it is. And you're probably going to watch more content today. And what we would like to challenge you on is there's only so much knowledge. There's only so far that all that knowledge and all that new knowledge is going to take you. Eventually, the only thing that's actually going to make you more flexible is to take action. And the best thing that we think you can do is to identify whether you're at stage 1, absolute beginner, new to stretching, stage 2, got some experience stretching but haven't unlocked the advanced levels of flexibility, or stage 3, you're a very experienced person with your training, but you're either flexible and lack strength, or you're either strong and lack flexibility. And either of those things, we have the 20-minute mobility routine for this, the flexibility masterclass, or the UMS tribe membership. You can check them all out at unitygym.com, or you can email either of us and connect that way and ask us any questions, or just comment on any of our YouTube videos. I respond to every single comment on every single video. Any closing thoughts, Yanni?
The closing thought from me is that the take-home message is apply the Pareto principle here, 80-20 principle. And, once you identify where you are, stage 1, 2, or 3 on the journey, eliminate the 80% of content that you do not need anymore. All you want to do is double down, find the 20% of the content specific to your stage and apply that, and watch what happens. You will start to make gains beyond your wildest dreams. And, if you want to work with us, great. If you want to work with someone else, great. But just make sure that they understand where you are on your journey and are not applying principles to stage 3, from a stage 3 to you, because it's not going to give you the leap that you're looking for. Go for it. bite down hard and go all in on that content for where you are on your journey.
Yeah. If I had have had my the last decade over again, the only thing I would have done differently is that I would have committed earlier to the coaches that I worked with that taught me the stuff that's contributed to where we are now. I would have committed to that process earlier and not kept looking for more stuff. Hope that helps you guys. If you got value out of this, please like and subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, write us a podcast review.
Yeah, give us a 5-star review if you're listening to the podcast. It really helps on Apple Podcasts.
On all of the podcasts, wherever you're listening to this, it absolutely really helps us. So please do. You've also probably found out about this podcast by a friend telling you about it. So that's the way that the word spreads. So please tell your friends about it. Say, hey, I listened to this awesome podcast. You should check it out and share it with your friends. That's one of the things that I notice on our socials a lot, which is it's quite humbling for me, but it's also touching, is that people say that we're one of the most underrated channels out there, and on YouTube and our podcast and everything. And if you feel that, help us spread the word. Tell your friends. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching if you're watching this on YouTube, and we'll see you in our next podcast.